And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Another beautiful sunshiny morning here in Maiden. Oh, wait a minute. I'm wrong. It's 53 degrees, cloudy. The type of rain I don't like because it's not enough to really wear a jacket. But it's too much not to wear a jacket. So I don't know what I'll do today. I didn't get my grass mowed this week. It pushed the rain back, and then it started raining, and it's all my fault. If you're not sure, check with my wife. She'll tell you everything's my fault. Somebody's got – look at these shoulders. Look at these shoulders. I can carry it, baby. I'm your man. I can carry it. Broad. I can tote the load. I had an opportunity this morning to be on Baltimore radio talking about picks for the Panthers, and, of course, they don't do a very good job of keeping a secret. I guess that's the best way to put it. They said, we have not told Bryce Young he's going to be the number one pick, yet he canceled all his visits after he visited the Carolina Panthers. Now, I don't think it's any surprise that he's going to be that number one pick. Am I happy about it? No. Is it a team I play that I pull for? Yeah. So will I have to get over it? Yeah. It's not about me, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm not convinced that was the best move, and I don't think that there was a franchise quarterback can't fail in this draft. Now, could there one develop into a franchise quarterback? Probably, but there's not a can't miss quarterback in this draft because they all need some work, regardless of what they are.
Well, I think last year, based off the can't miss with, Zach
Wilson,
Wilson, and then Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a crapshoot. I mean, there is a lot of detail, a lot of things that go on. Not only the evaluation of athleticism, but also their mental capabilities or perceived capabilities, those kind of things. But in the end, it's can that person really handle the day-to-day grind and rigors that you have to do to be a consummate professional in their early 20s.
Yep.
That's very tough, and the frontal lobe a lot of times is not developed until 24.
That's right.
And, there's a lot that goes into this.
Yep.
And, I think what has been found out is in years past we've seen in drafts running backs going very high. And today, I think, was it McShay you said
he doesn't have Bijan Robinson in the first round.
From Texas, the Robinson kid.
Most people have him at number 10 going to the Eagles.
Lenny, in years past, he's a top 5 pick, maybe even higher.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the nature of the game and
injuries, you got to figure out what they are.
Yes. But the nature of the injury is very hard to justify the investment. That's why I'm kind of, wondering how the quarterback situation is justifiable and why you don't, in most cases, let other people draft them and then maybe acquire them through free agency after they've been in the league and gone through the sophomore slump and the freshman flounder and all the things that, tend to happen.
And a fantastic example of that is Geno Smith.
Yes.
He got to Seattle, got in the right situation, was very successful, bounced around the league. Richie, Milton, Stephen, good morning. I agree with you, Milton. Will Levis is one of the best in the bunch. He's a project, but he's still one of the best in the bunch. Fits the Frank Reich offense better.
Man. He's tough.
And Anthony Richardson is the same thing. I don't think C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young fit the mold of a Frank Reich quarterback because he's more of an old-school drop-back or a three-step drop or, quick release out of the shotgun. He's not a scrambler runner type of a quarterback coach. So it'll be interesting to see, but it looks like Bryce Young's going to be the one that you get. Now, I still say, and I think that you're starting to see more and more of this, you're going to see more and more teams shorter contracts and not trying to hold on players to a second contract or a third contract because it's just not worth it. The risk reward is not there, I don't think. Now we'll see how that plays out, but I'm just not sure that that's what it is.
Well, and I think a lot of people would tend to be persuaded that way now and agree with you. So great observation. I think that you look back last year and you say, okay, who was a player in the NFL that was hurt for a majority of the year, but is still worth every cent that was paid? And, it's the defensive end from Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Okay? Whether he plays in 8 games or 16 games, his productivity is still so high that it's well above anything that you would get from most players in 16, well, I say 16, 17 now, but, plus games, whatever, with, playoffs and things like that. What's interesting to me is we're seeing so many more defensive ends and corners that are creeping up year after year in the draft. And what that, the quarterback is still like the ultimate, we got to get this, and we're pressured to get this, we got to get this. Think about what the Panthers have done as an organization. I know they have new, GM, leadership, all this, right, with, the head coach and things like that and coaching staff. But this will be their 3rd head coach in 2 years, okay? And think about the things that they have done the last 3 years to try to position themselves with the quarterback. An absolute catastrophe bringing in Baker Mayfield. Why would you think dysfunction would lead to? Now, again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just asking questions, okay? Then, all right, you draft Matt Corral, who has been through Lane Kiffin's system, which is a pro-style offense with reads and understanding.
In the 3rd round, and you have no money in him.
Right, but yet he's a great investment because of the potential capabilities, right? P.J. Walker, who they've let go, was a guy that was very steady.
Didn't fit the mold.
Right, whatever that means, okay?
Size-wise.
Yeah. So, interesting enough, his productivity was much better than Baker's, right? All right, his excitability for what he brought to the, to the game and the fans and the offense, especially when they traded CMC and got rid of the wideout. It was amazing how things, it's like, well, yeah, he's our best player. Yeah, but you got to be on the field to be the best player, okay? Because the best player needs to equal your most productive player. There's just a lot of things that I think as fans that we all have questions about. And no, this is not our full-time job. This is not our career. But we are fully invested as fans a lot of times as the people that are in the building. So we have a right, along with plenty of opportunities, to ask these questions and to try to get clarification if we're going to spend our money and our most valuable, most precious commodity, our time, and invest into our teams. There needs to be a level of accountability and understanding. You can explain something to somebody, but you can't help them understand it. But explain it to them will eventually help them get to that point, for most people. And we need to know why this is the way it is, because if you go back and look at the draft, they're about as accurate on players being great as the weather was earlier in the week when it said it wasn't going to rain until Friday. Okay, it rained a little bit yesterday.
Yes, it did. It's supposed to be sunshine yesterday and
today. All right, it's raining tomorrow. I mean, just now again, I know things change and nobody's perfect. But what we can do is work not towards perfection, but trying to be exceptional at what we do. I just don't see that in this process, and it's very, very aggravating. Because things like if it looks like a duck and walks like, something's not right.
Yep.
What's going on?
Well, the whole thing with Matt Corral, I would have waited. I thought they brought in the right mentor in Andy Dalton.
Absolutely.
Much more seasoned than Sam Darnold or some of the other quarterbacks that have been through there. I would have waited and see what I had there before I went out on another quarterback when there's not a sure thing out there.
Well, look what San Francisco did with Brock Purdy.
I know.
You know what
Mr.
I mean?
Relative.
And to your point, I think there's several potential, players that are franchise tag players in this draft. The problem is we just can't see but maybe two of them, the two defensive ends, slash outside linebacker ends, the kid from Georgia, the kid from Alabama. Other than that, we really don't, but they're there. And I think that's where the hidden value of being able to do what you do is so good. With Belichick, we were laughing about, or I was, we were talking about it. They got so-and-so picked to go to the Patriots at 14 or wherever it is. Man, trying to guess what Bill Belichick's going to do is like, I mean, he took a young man out of LR that's an absolute stellar defensive player in the NFL that nobody else
nobody saw it,
even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Why is there not more of that out there? Instead, it's like, hey, let's hire this offensive coordinator to be our head coach, and let's go out there and swing it because that's fun.
It's the same thing that you said. It's the same thing that you said. A general manager, a director of player personnel never gets fired for checking all the boxes on a draft, and it doesn't work out.
But what is that called? Style versus
substance?
No,
it's called CYA.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's what style versus substance is cover your because appearance at that point is more important than the reality of the situation. It's like we talked about with Matt Eisenhower. There's no way he does not start in the ACC or SEC at some position for a minimum of 3 years, if not 4.
Yep, I agree.
If he's healthy. There's no way, but yet because he was an inch and a half smaller than that, my thing is somebody that is that great, even if you don't want to put him in a guard or tackle, guess what he could play? Center.
Nope.
And be probably the best center you've ever had. But, again, that's going back years, but just to the point. So, we can all question things and all that. And there's a lot of great players, very talented kids in the draft, and I'm excited about it. I think my thing is, and kind of what we talked about off the air before we got on, why is it that it's such a pressing need for quarterback when you can turn that into a distribution instead of a playmaker?
And here's the other thing.
To be successful.
And nobody really sees or understands this. There are 32 quarterback positions, in the NFL. But there's not 32 NFL quarterbacks playing them. There's not 32 top-tier can't-miss quarterbacks.
But why is that?
There's not enough around, and they don't stretch a little bit to get somebody and develop because it's got to do it now. And I think a lot of it has come back, and I've said this before. I think most teams, Marty used to argue with me about this, but I think if you go back and look at it, you're going to see that my point is pretty accurate. Most teams are on a 5-year cycle.
Yeah.
Meaning,
right,
I've got to get me a quarterback that will work while I'm paying them nothing and put weapons around them to try to make a run for a Super Bowl. Because once you have to pay that quarterback, that Patrick Mahomes, that Aaron Rodgers, whatever, there's no money left because they're eating up about 35% of your cap for one player. And then you put one or two other superstars out there, it's not a whole lot left.
I don't disagree with that. However, there are ways to structure, especially when people make it to that point, right? Because there's other forms of income that come in through endorsements and, the commercialization of the game, which is wonderful. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I think opportunities, what I was going to talk about, I think the biggest issue from a fan standpoint and then just trying to understand the process is because you invest money into something, all right, you have to stick with it. I'm not so sure that not having a high level of accountability, all right, and saying every day you've got to compete for your position no matter what, doesn't take the issues that Kyler Murray or someone like that had and try to make them, into, the study bug, or being the best they can be. There's so much missed opportunity because someone's taken number one that look at Brock Purdy. Do you think he had any shot at all in camp to compete for a job?
Nope.
All right. So what happens? Jimmy G, who is, a lot of people are like, well, yeah, he's this. Let me tell you something. He's a winner.
He is.
Okay? He got San Francisco to where they are, and Brock kept them there as long as he could.
And it
wasn't Brock that did that.
The only thing that he's missing is the one attribute of staying on the field. The other, he checks all the other boxes.
Absolutely. But
if you've got somebody that can.
Right. To the point earlier, the game has changed so much that we don't want, I say we, I'm talking as, as fans, we don't want our quarterbacks tucking the ball and running, or trying to break outside and make this play, 5 out of 10 plays. Maybe 1 out of 10 because the numbers go down as far as from a health standpoint, you're much likely to stay on the field. All right? This thing, what I'm saying is, because you draft somebody number one, we have to put them out there. They've got to be ready. They're ready. There is no quarterback in that draft. I don't care if it's a kid from Kentucky, Florida, Alabama's quarterback. Bryce is ready from a mental standpoint. He is ready for that, okay? But he is a smaller person, okay, that had in a very tall league.
Yeah.
So he's got to not only be the best that he can be through his training, and there's no doubt that he's off the charts. IQ-wise, football IQ, person. Jalen Hurts, years ago when he got benched for the season and came back in and won the SEC championship, and then the next week Tua was healthy and they went on to play national championship. I put a post out, and I was with both of my boys and I said, guys, if you're going to model yourself after an individual through athletics, Freddie Freeman would be good, really good, and Jalen Hurts would be the next guy. What facial expression? Cameras are always on him, trying to catch him over pouting or whatever. Never.
He rolled with it, waiting for his next opportunity.
Right, and he knew. But guess where he played this year?
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
After he can't throw the ball. He's a second level tier 2, tier 3 quarterback. He can't listen. He is a great high character profile type person and player. He's not emotional, right? He's
not emotional to come apart when things aren't
That's
working.
what I'm saying. He always keeps it on the level.
Yeah.
Okay? He always keeps it on the level. And, Bryce is like that. The kid from Kentucky is like that. The kid from Florida, C.J. Stroud does a good job of that. But when you look at those kids and play, I say kid, those young men, players, I don't know landing first round is the right thing, but yet my point is the teams feel like they have to, and it squanders opportunity for those that are really in the same boat, just at a different level.
Yeah. Let me take a break, and then when we come back, get some comments that came in, and we will kind of go from there. Let me see if I got everything lined up here that I need to have lined up, and I wasn't prepared. Gosh.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here on what we got, Thursday? Last Thursday of April. Where's the month gone?
Oh, it's almost Christmas.
Yeah, let's see. 2 days ago, it was 8 months until Christmas, just in case you're keeping
It's almost
score.
Christmas.
Yeah. I did a thing yesterday on my radio show in Mooresville that 7%, and I thought this was high, 7% of adults polled said they wish Christmas came twice a year. I don't think so. I couldn't afford it twice a year, pretty sure. Let me give you some comments. Richie said we was talking about Baker Mayfield. Dysfunction breeds dysfunction. Milton said Carolina hasn't had a good quarterback move since Tepper bought the team. Richie said the Ravens did that for a while as far as used a quarterback as a game manager and don't lose us the game.
Yeah, and that was right for the team.
Won a Super Bowl. Mark said, good morning, Mark. Give me a dynamic game-changing quarterback over one that is a game manager and give him a few weapons and let the chips fall where they may.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's
ideal. What I was talking about, and Mark I agree with him. That would be so much more exciting. I think the problem is
there's not enough of those.
There's hardly any of those, and they can't stay on the field if they are that way. So I like what Mark said. I think
Mark said, and this is important too, the first box my quarterback must check is absolute control in the huddle. Has to be the commander-in-chief, and the other players in that huddle have unyielding faith in him. And that a lot of that is more than football knowledge and skills. It is also personal skills and how that player carries themselves, handles other people, handles situations, not just kind of sling it down the field.
Well, think about this, too, to the huddle. What do you see in high school and college these days occurring on the offensive side of the football? Very little what? Huddling.
Oh, yeah.
So the reason that you huddle before you go out into battle, is to create synergies, right? To get unity, to get clarity, to get refocus, right, on your job. The last thing that you do when you go into a battle, all right, now once you start the war, it's a little different when you don't have time to stop and regroup. But it allows you to do that in football because of the play clock, right? You don't have play clock in war. All right, the point is when you get in there and huddle, it gives you a chance to get refocused, draw together. All right, any issues that were there, you get 2 seconds to talk about it, chew each other, whatever you got to do. All right, break the huddle and get back out and go do your game plan. The problem, I think, with a lot of this is there's nothing wrong with lining up, seeing how defense is, and calling a play. But I think you've got to huddle to create unity, like Mark was talking about, with the control coming from your commanding general.
Let me come back there because I got a question for you. And Milton, this is what everybody says. Young had the Bama line. Much easier to succeed when you're not running for your life. Well, Ohio State's the same way. Ohio State, Alabama, some of those top-notch college team have better offensive lines and weapons than a portion of the NFL.
Yes, but the defense in the SEC, and Milton has a good point, but what I want to do is kind of flip that, and talk about why they feel like Bryce Young's the most battle-tested and ready, because the defenses in the SEC are NFL defenses, right? In the ACC and the Big Ten, they're defensive players for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, were likely former offensive players that have been turned into defensive guys. Now, people may say, yeah, but this kid's coming out, he's a linebacker. I'm not talking about every player. But in the SEC, almost every player, that plays defense was recruited to be that defensive player, okay? And so, it gives you the truest measure in the SEC of quarterback play. That's why I was big on Matt Corral as you are, right? I'm big on these quarterbacks in the SEC because they're going up against NFL-style defensive
And
ends.
if they're not at Alabama or Georgia, they're not – they've got to have more to what they do to be successful because they don't have all the tools and weapons around them.
So I think, and to your point, and I think to what Milton's getting at, we can get a truer sense of what, maybe a quarterback can do under duress, all right, from the kids at like Florida and Kentucky, because they're going against Alabama's and Tennessee's defense and Florida, Georgia's defense. So we're getting to see what they can do under duress. But when you get those pieces worked out, it's really good to know what you got going into a draft. It's just how do the measurables pan out after that.
Yep.
Right.
Richie said, did you catch the Spencer Strider outing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, for the Braves on Monday night.
Hey, that's to be decided, but I'm going to tell you what, I like what I'm seeing.
Milton, Mark said, Milton, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I think Young is the best choice for the Panthers at quarterback, and I think he's going to end up being one of the best in the NFL. Then again, I'm an IT networking specialist, so what do I know?
Well,
It's okay.
mean, we all hope that he is.
Yeah,
Regardless
and I
of where
agree.
he played in
I
college.
agree.
We all want these people to be successful. It's just there's a lot of things that we have to, or that has to be overcome. A lot.
Milton said he's smaller than Tua. That's my concern. Him and C.J. Stroud both.
I think I think he's a much different player than Tua.
Thicker.
I think so. I think Tua has a not a false sense of security. Okay, but I think he is a different style player mentally, because even though Bryce Young can run and scramble and get out of the pocket and make plays, he's still an in-pocket player. That the issue is what you brought up earlier, and I think, to Mark's point and Milton and Rich and everybody, he's just a little shorter than a big offensive line in front
I like
of him.
the ability of my quarterback to be able to make plays with his feet. I just don't want it to be a staple inside of my offense.
If it
I
is,
like that
they'll
threat
fill the
being
field.
there.
Right. Just like Patrick Mahomes does. Whenever he needs it, he uses it.
That's correct.
But he's able.
They're not designing plays around like he did Cam Newton.
No. That's right.
Yeah. Morning, Sissy. Yeah, 4 is looking sharp today. I did not get the memo to wear the white shirt, the power tie. I'm sorry. I've got one of those. I have it on Sunday if anybody would like to see me in one, just in case. I'll be speaking at Maiden Wesleyan, for Gideon's on Sunday. So if you want to see me in a coat and tie, that'll be one of the rare opportunities. And then I got asked to make up a fourth in a quartet at Centerview Church on Sunday evening. And I haven't got the dress code for that, so I'm not sure. I went to my first rehearsal. I went to my only rehearsal last night. So we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Mark said –
bow ties for the quartet.
No, I don't have any of those. Mark said, I'd love to know Forrest's thoughts on the town in New Jersey that has a new law. If a parent argues with an umpire at a Little League game, that parent must umpire 3 games before they're allowed to watch any more games. Let me tell you, first of all, I like it. I like it because until you've walked in those shoes, I've officiated before. I officiated with my peers when I was in college because I was one of the main officials in intramural league.
Sure.
And so, there you don't have fans, but you got to argue with the players.
Well, the child's always an extension of the home, and there's a lot of people that may agree or disagree with that. But, I coach Little League ball now, and, I've got good relationships with our parents that say, hey, listen, these guys out here, this is not their full-time job. A lot of them do volunteer. Some of them do get paid, but they get paid very small. So basically it's, it's
negligible.
Yeah, it's grunt work, okay? Yeah. And, the fact that there's people that are interested in coming out here and mingling, let's try to respect that factor first. Now, if they're doing things to belittle or being a pompous rear end about things or, whatever, that's a different story because then that becomes a personal issue, okay, the way that they handle. But if they're trying to do the best they can do, and, obviously, you've seen it a long time, all of us on here have, as a player and a coach. And, the one thing that I encourage our parents to do, let's focus on the things we can control. And a lot of times people, are very frustrated with life in general. They may have had a bad day. They come out and there's a chance to vent on the ball field. It's been that way for 100 years. The thing about it is today is we're more concerned as a society and as individuals, about our feelings instead of things that, truly you can't control what someone else says. Now, if someone's being belligerent, terrible from the stands, then get them out of there, ask them to quiet down. If they don't, get them out. I know that if any of our parents, and you went to one of our Little League games, I know if any of them got out of control, I'll go say, hey, look, just chill out for a minute. Let's remember this is not the World Series. This is Little League baseball. The most important thing is growth and development, not that we're trying to win every out, every pitch, every inning of every game. They're going to make mistakes. We're all human. We're trying to strive for excellence. Nobody's perfect. If they can't understand that, then I get them out.
Here's the deal.
That's it.
This has always been my take.
That's it.
And when it comes to officials, okay, and I'm friends with officials.
Oh yeah,
but here's the deal. Whenever I feel like there was something that you did that took away an opportunity, an unfair advantage for one of my kids, that's when I get upset. It's not about the run scored and everything else. It's about making sure they have an equal opportunity to perform and succeed. That's all I'm interested in.
Well, it's about opportunity. It's not about outcome.
Yeah, that's right. Outcome will take care of itself.
But see, the Little League and other organizations have skewed so far away from competition that they focus on participation. And when you get away from the competitive side of anything that you're doing and turn it into recreation only, then the issues you're having today are, often directly, indirectly, because of policy, right? Mm-hmm. It's like that in anything in our lives, right? We see it in the religious organizations with things changing daily with the way that things, the way that people used to believe versus the way they believe now, right? We see it in politics, all right, narratives changing, things like that. We've seen that in sports. And yet, people like High School Athletic Association, whatever, well, we can't find any officials. Well, that's not necessarily true. First of all, you have to pay people. If they're going to trade their time, you got to pay them. They've been underpaid for years. High school officials should make 2 to 3 times what they make. But to that point, there should be fewer of those, and that you should play football games either on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Conferences play on different nights, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? That way officials can do 2 out of the 3 games. That will solve a lot of the issues. Baseball conferences the same way, because people that, most of these people talk about, I don't get hollered at anymore. They're so worried about stuff that really doesn't matter. Well, that person came out and assaulted me. Well, then that person needs to go to prison.
That's correct.
We need to stop saying, well, he didn't really mean to it or he had a bad day. Look, we all have bad days. You got to control your actions.
He had a bad day.
So to Mark's
picked a bad
point,
day to have a bad day.
That's one way to get people to understand things. Mm-hmm. But I made a point last night when I was meeting with some clients and talking to them. And I said, we were talking baseball. They have a kid that plays locally. And I said, we're getting to the point where it would almost be more advantageous for the kids to call the game themselves.
Call your own foul?
And they were like, what? I said, hold on a minute. Think about how hard a lot of these kids work. The integrity of what they're doing is more important, all right, first, than the outcome, because of the time that they invest in it. They want the outcome to be true, and just, right? So if you're a catcher and you're calling balls and strikes, if you're somebody that is a serious player instead of a participator, then you're going to hold everybody accountable, including your pitcher. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, oh, that's not true. They'll cheat. Well, they might. But is it any worse than what we're seeing today? But I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. We have changed what we consider to be success. Okay, to me,
exactly.
Success is not wins and losses, but it's about growth and making me a better person.
Yes, growth
and we've
Absolutely.
changed that to where that's not the most important thing to do.
No, it's being first and trying instead of being right.
Yeah, that's right. Lindsay said, she's even taught me. I think we're going to go down and catch a Canes game next week.
That'd be cool.
Mark said it ain't the size of the dog. It ain't the size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight in the dog.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And Todd, congratulations. I saw that. Maiden High School softball won the conference last night, and pretty sure Maiden High School did as well.
Yeah, the baseball team did too.
Good. Yep. Congratulations to both.
Yep.
Milton said 4. Levis is from the SEC, and I like him.
He's talking about
Will Levis,
the quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's what I was saying.
Mm-hmm. And Matt Krause from the SEC too.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was able to go against very high-profile defenses, so we were able to see what he could do under duress. Plus, he played hurt most of the year. He had terrible turf toe this year. And so, to Milton's point, he really gives a lot of – Levis gave a lot of, great looks and potential of what, he can do, especially under duress.
Mark said if parents could control more, if they could focus more on controlling their mouths, there would be a lot less issues.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Mark said, granted, there are refs and umpires in Little League and up that have no business doing it, and I point those out on a regular basis.
In Little League, every umpire in Little League, the Little League organization, is volunteer. Now, Cal Ripken, Babe Ruth, things like that in local municipalities and local recreations here, they are paid. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad. I'm glad we pay them. I think we, should try to find a way to pay them more and make it more exclusive instead of inclusive as far as just letting anybody come do it and then come out there, right? I think, there's young people that need to be trained or first-time people, maybe people that haven't played before that need to understand the flow of the game and how things go and learn. And they learn by trial and error too. Mm-hmm. But I think the intent should be, I want to get better. And with all the video now that we have out there and teachable, tools and aids, you can watch things, give insight what to look for, have your officials clinics. There's a lot of really, really good.
But they got to want to do
there.
that and not just look at it as a part-time job.
Well, and I think
they got to make a commitment as well, and that's fine. I'm completely in.
Yeah.
Todd said there's a bill filed in the North Carolina General Assembly to outlaw participation trophies. I can't say that I dislike that, but I just think the General Assembly's got more stuff to do than that. Mark, I agree. Participation trophies are the dumbest thing ever.
Well, Lanny, to your point, there may be something to that because what happens is those concerts. It's like this. I heard when I was in Miami last week at a conference, I was downstairs grabbing a few things out of their little shop in there or whatever, snacks or whatever, and I heard one of the people there talking that was like a manager of the hotel, like one of those positions. And he was talking to an employee, and he said, look, you can tell him or her, I can't remember who it was. He was talking to somebody. He said, look, you can, or whoever it was. He said, you can tell them that, just because they've been here 4 months and have been here every day doesn't mean that they get a raise. Anytime you get a raise, you have increased responsibility. You don't get one for just being you. Mm-hmm. Now,
don't get rewarded for doing your job.
That's what I'm saying. That's what participation trophies do, and it ends up leading to more of a needy, entitled mentality instead of saying, you know what, if I'm going to get something, I've got to work for it and earn it. But yet, if somebody else cheated and I didn't get it, also that teaches me that life is that way sometimes, and it's how I react to things, to that situation, and how I handle it versus my inability to control it.
The scientific,
and so I think the bill's okay.
The scientific expression applies to anything outside of science. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you do more, you get more. If you do less, you don't. So
you should
it
always
still
provide
works.
more service than you were ever paid for. Okay, and have that mentality. There's a book, As a Man Thinketh, that was written 150 years ago. Today it would be written As a Person Thinketh, because our society is different with opportunities, right? But instead of focusing on the title of the book, I would encourage everybody that hasn't read that or listened to it on Audible to listen to it. I try to give it to every player we've got. Now, whether they do anything with it or not, that way they understand that, look, regardless of what you hear, okay, you're in control of every situation you're in.
That's correct. Yep.
And they break it all the way down for
Yeah.
you. And it's as true today as it was when they wrote it.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Circumstances do, right? But not general situations.
But right and wrong and
that's what I'm saying.
effort,
that never changes.
Never changes.
You can
Andrew
try
said,
to blur it.
Andrew said we need to bring back consequences.
Well,
I
that's
agree.
true.
And
That's
Milton
true.
said there's umpires in the big leagues that don't need to be there. That is correct. Richie said time equals money. The question is the money worth the time? And that's what you're saying. Mark says no autopsy, no foul in a lot of rec league basketball games I played in. And I was fine for that. With that. Richie said Angel Hernandez is one of those.
Well,
and what's the other guy? West?
Oh, Joe West.
Joe West,
He's from Greenville, North Carolina. So when I was at ECU, he came in and we had a coaching class or whatever, one of our curriculum classes or whatever, and he came in and he did the umpiring segment for like 3 classes, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday or whatever. He was there that whole week. He was really good friends with Dr. Jimmy Grinsley, who was head of our whatever department down there. But he came in, and this one he just got in. I say just got. He probably been in majors a few years, but man, it was enlightening.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, he was throwing situations out there about everything, and he said, you got to remember the Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, pro soccer, all these things. It's entertainment as well as a business. Mm-hmm. So with Angel Hernandez, there's a reason he's still there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Lindsay says very similar in academics. There are a lot of students who don't need to be in various levels of classes, but they are because of their socioeconomic and social status.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes,
Mark said participation trophies are like being handed one free drink at closing time at a bar when you're struck out with the ladies. That's a good one. I like that one a lot there, Mark. You're up and thinking this morning.
Oh, God.
Lindsay said parents will waive prerequisites so their kid can take classes with their peers and then raise HE double hockey sticks for the low grades that they get.
So what we all have witnessed and seen is, in a society that is now more mobile and recreational, there are a lot of opportunities that as parents that we or they have missed out on. Mm-hmm. And so what we do is not necessarily, people call it living through the kid, trying to get your experiences back, right? The intent is to provide opportunity. The problem is it's not you, but I'm using third person. It's your inner desires that you missed out on that you're trying to put through the eyes of the kid, right? Mm-hmm. So when they're playing 18 weekends in a row, 4 to 5 games on a weekend, when they're taking these classes that they have you have to be immature before you can be mature. You have to be able to allow your children to make mistakes because that is our greatest teacher. Failure is our greatest teacher. But like Lindsay says, nobody wants their kid to fail. Well,
I don't mind failure, just don't want to get hurt.
Well, yeah.
I don't mean emotionally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so what we've done is we've been able to blur the lines between physical and emotional hurt. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that will argue it's the same thing. Well, that's when people get really, really, really sideways, all right, about academics, and a kid maybe not making a grade that they, the parents say, well, this is an opportunity. They should be able to do this. Why didn't they do it? It's your fault as a teacher. What can you control?
I had an answer for that when I was teaching in college. And I gave it. Richie can testify to this. It was in my little spiel that I did when we went over our course syllabus for the year. Mm-hmm. I'll do anything I can to help you. However, your Social Security number does not appear on my tax return. Therefore, I did not take you to raise. That was the answer. Back in a moment.
That's fair.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome back. I told you to hold on to that one thought. I want to come back to it. Okay. And just want to get your opinion. We were talking about huddle, and we were talking about all the other things. Mm-hmm. My question is it as effective? And I think it maybe is based on a lot of things. Game situation, your kids, where you're at in the game, all of those kind of things. Mm-hmm. But my biggest thing on the huddling thing is sometimes you see teams that the situation in the game has changed, yep, and they need to huddle and eat up clock.
Right.
Instead of coming out there. Yep. But you kind of get into that mentality. Mm-hmm. And the same thing in play selection. You need to eat up some clock, and you burn through 3 plays in 48 seconds, and now they get the ball back. Same thing. You're inside the 5, and you don't have a quarterback that can go under center. So you start 7 yards deep.
Yeah. Wayne, I really don't think people are wrong, if they don't like to huddle or they, say, well, we don't do that, right? I'm talking about there's reasons that people do, okay? And to explore other avenues, to look at what new ways to do things or have a particular style in which you like to do things is okay. When in reality, the whole point is the probability of the outcome that you desire. And I think a lot of times that no matter what it is, whether it be sports or in life, we sacrifice, maybe some of the things that help build the foundation and that are constant and steady, proven and true, to try to bypass those things to be new and exciting and do things like that. And I think we see that in marriages a lot of times. We see that in raising kids. We see that in the way that we perform our jobs or lack of performance. the way we don't raise our kids, the way we're not invested into our marriages, our relationships. Now, again, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying that I think these are some of the outcomes that we're starting to see and why things don't work long term or sustainable, because the emphasis is on now when, it's not about a tortoise winning the race. No tortoise is going to win a race, okay? The point of it is to be more steady, to more steady hand, to rely on things more often that allow you to be centered and grounded. I'm talking about sports, okay, that allow you to go out and, be able to execute the next play. I know as a defensive coordinator, I don't want a team to huddle, an offensive team. I don't want that. Because I can see where they start lining up, whereas if they huddle, I have no idea what they're going to come out in. So then I've got to go back to my sheet and go to probabilities, which a lot of coaches stick to, all right? But I like a team that is no huddle from a defensive standpoint.
I like
it a lot.
I like to huddle and then quick count because it doesn't give you the opportunity to make those adjustments.
To make adjustments, right.
And from an offensive standpoint, I've never really seen the benefit of lining up, seeing what the defense does, because I don't think you have enough players on the offensive side of the ball that can digest that information.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have as many coaches that you need that can digest that information quickly to make those modifications and changes. You don't have that kind of in-depth playbook.
No.
If you go back and you chart your plays and you go back when the game's over, you'll see you really don't run that many variations of your plays.
No, you don't.
So if you huddle, I think you have more control of the game flow than if you don't.
Yeah. Now, I'm the first one to say I don't think people are wrong by not huddling.
I'm not either. It's just not my style.
I'll be very clear. And there's a lot of reasons that people that do a no-huddle offense will give you why they think it's an advantage. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. So I'm not being critical of that. What I'm saying is teams, for example, that I have watched over the last several years are multifunctional. They can go up to the line if they need to, or they come back and huddle. But they don't do just one thing and say, this is what we do. I think the greatest ability as a coach, or if you are in a profession where you are helping other people or trying to help people be the best they can be, right, is the ability to listen and learn, okay, to study, model, analyze, and test every movement that they make, right, to be able to, use unbiased, objective, independent thought into trying to help them formulate a plan to be the best they can be, and then monitor, evaluate, and adjust what they're doing. I think coaches that take that approach, all right, instead of this is what we do and this is the only way we do it and we're not going to change anything no matter what it is. 1 yard line, we're in shotgun because that's what we do. I think that coaches that are multifunctional and find different ways to achieve the same thing often have higher levels of success sustainable longer with their teams, their players, and the overall experiences of the players, especially in high school, right, than ones that just say, I'm the smartest person on the planet. This is what I do. I go talk at all these things and do this and do that. The best coaching job that I've ever done was there was 2 years out of 30. Well, 3, all right. 2 of them we finished well below 500. It was the best coaching job I ever did in baseball. The year after we won the state championship in Maiden, the 2000 year, was the next baseball season. We won 5 games. We should have never won 5 games. We shouldn't have. We were decimated from the year before. We had a lot of kids that practiced really hard. We had several kids returning, but it was a different unit with very few arms. We won 5 games out of 20. There's no way. All right, no way. The next one was my first year at Irwin, where we had 2 seniors on the team. One of them was a returning starter, and we're in the league with Franklin, Pisgah, East Henderson, West Henderson, some of these great baseball powers. And, we finished second in the league. There's no way. We were first for the longest time till the last week. There's no way. And then the third one was the year we went to the state championship in the Legion. That was, but my point is, I said 2 of the 3 were not there's another one where we're below 500. But the point is a lot of times, we don't see those things as as fans or as people that are engaged. And I'm hopeful that Frank Reich will be able to do something with the Panthers. Every year we hear predictions. They're going to be 9-8. They're going to win. They're going to win 8 games. They're going to be 7 games. No.
4?
Yep. Because they got to get the ship righted, and you got to give the guy a chance to do what he can do. And the problem
I had to look at the schedule.
This is the issue that I see. When you play chess, you have pawns that are kind of like your frontline workers. Okay. The problem is everybody wants to move the queen all over the board and try to capture a king. Everything works in conjunction with the other pieces. There's sacrifices that have to be made. There are things that have to be done. Sometimes your best player usually is not a pawn, but it could be a knight, okay, or it could be a rook, okay? It's very rarely the queen. The queen's your most dynamic, but not your best. And there's a difference.
And you sacrifice those pieces
to try to
open up other
right.
pieces that you would rather.
The king being the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're not asking ourselves as an organization, what can we do to win the Super Bowl, and are we on the right track to do it, then what are we doing? We're just trying to win games.
And the other thing
That's not good.
The other thing is, it's hard to make plans to win the Super Bowl when you don't have any pieces together from the year before and you've got some new pieces.
Right.
But you put together that plan, okay, here's where I need to be in year 3. Year 3 is my year I'm going to make my run. And here's the pieces that I've got to move and get new pieces to make all this come together. If I don't have injuries
absolutely.
and those kind of things. I mean, that's, go back to football.
Yeah.
Wing T offense, that's what it was solely based on. You run this play to set up this play because it has the same action.
Because of the fullback.
Yeah,
100%.
because you can't.
100%.
But it's a play to set up the next play depending on what they did with that.
Right.
But everything looks the same.
But see, I think all offenses with any kind of proactive planning instead of just dynamic stuff, I think the process, and we saw that with East Duplin against Reidsville in the state championship. They got out of the wing T, went into a very similar formation, single wing shotgun or, whatever you want to call it, box or whatever, whatever. And they just started pounding the ball off left tackle. Overload the left side, pound, pound, pound. Run right this time. But everything was this way. They negated the style of Reidsville, which was their athleticism, that could be turned into substance when trying to be equally matched.
But they still stayed inside their playbook.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, to your point.
And
they neutralized the style with their substance and style of play because their substance created their own style. It went the other way, and that's why they wore them down. It doesn't matter how fast somebody is if they have to run into you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's only if they run around you.
Yeah.
So if you've got the ball, what do they have to do?
They got to meet you head
can
up.
beat that.
Yeah.
You can beat that.
Yeah.
You just got to keep them getting the ball, right?
Yep.
So,
all right, have a good day, folks. Remain safe out there in the rain.
Hard to do, too.
And,
a lot of great teams.
Yeah. Not taking anything away from you.
No.
Have a great day. See you.